Thank you very much.
A great first read. Appreciate it. It's a
Yeah,
great name.
Like based on the furniture position, you're triangulated close to the monitor to actually read them. So
Yeah.
that's the
This is
mantle.
now your responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've taken it over.
It's like my prescription. It's not that good.
Yeah.
You can swap
I
glasses.
have to
with
make sure I
Gary.
didn't.
We can
have
also,
to
we got contacts, we got glasses.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. This stream, as we said, is all about Veilbreaker. We're going to be deep diving into that. We have the Styanax full anime reveal. But before we jump into all that, like I said, we are going to rerun the Deviri Amphitheater experience momentarily. Make sure you're in game. Reb's in game. She's ready to go. You ready, Reb?
I am ready.
All right, Dean, you can
I
go to
legitimately
gameplay if you
don't
so
care.
wish.
I have never
Relay.
cared less,
And you're about
to be honest.
Teleported.
Oh, the
Like
theater has
these,
begun? Yeah,
I
so
don't
if you
know.
recall
They
at Tennocon,
they
we
play
wanted
these up
to
so
give the
much.
Deviri and all the weirdness coming with it, which Greg and Carrie and myself and Pablo worked on as much as a impression as possible. So
I just like I think that these are these sort of amphitheater like interactive experiences are cool, but they never work. And so like now it's been a month, more than a month since Tennocon. We've seen everything. Like there's nothing about this like amphitheater experience that is new or interesting or really like pushing the boundaries in any way, which sucks. It would have been cool. That's the thing, is it's only cool if we get to see it the day of. At this point, it's doesn't really matter.
The brightest of stars in the firmament, our magnificent majesty by whose very whim we exist, our most modest and serene sovereign.
Yeah, we get it, Bombstein.
Thrax.
Dominus Thrax sounds like a Star Wars name. Like somebody,
we'll go to the next
somebody at
tableau, and I
DE
think our approach with these was to give our very wild characters the scene.
basically
to
said
sort
like,
of explain
I
what
want
was
to
happening
name
to them.
the new villain or one of the new villains something wild, and said fuck it, let's just give it a Star Wars name.
A pure ideal smithed into shape by our king's will. I advise you not to cross them.
Yeah.
And indeed, we fought some Dax at Tennocon. We first showed these in the 2019 trailer, and now they're back. And there's actually, when Deviri launches, which will be a conversation for a future dev stream, there's much more up our sleeve with the Dax.
It's getting there.
Oh.
Here, your eyes are treated to what your ears have already feasted upon. Behold, Lucinia, whose voice blesses all in Deviri. Through her song, the king sleeps soundly and deep, untroubled by fell dreams.
And then, of course, we had our opera singer, Lucinia, as we called her, who, you had to come up with a way that a Deviri opera singer would look.
Absolutely. Bright red dress, of course.
Of
and,
course.
can never get to trouble when you have giant pieces of cloth coming off your wrist. Watching you alone.
There's no technical problems with cloth ever.
Ever.
The Cave of Deviri, a memory clad in a steel dream, swifter than bow shots, more loyal than a steadfast soldier's heart.
The Kaith is something very interesting to me. I'm very excited about the Kaith. Because I love Kavats, I love Kubros, I love the infested animals, but I feel like they're sort of, they do their own thing. They buff you occasionally, but they're sort of over here, and you are over here doing your stuff. And so it's, have more interaction with them will be
He
nice.
has dwelled with us. I only know that something has compelled him to watch and wait.
So that was Teshin.
What would a Tennocon be without a weird perhaps. I'm more nervous in this role than perhaps Tenno. Perhaps, yeah, but old man Teshin, our sweet Dax, is looking a little different.
Look up.
We bet.
Up to the sky. Meets one of our primordial enigmas. One of the titanic entities that coil around our world at its very roots. Behold the
Yep.
Biggest character we've ever put in
Well,
game.
that's kind of going through my mind right now, actually. Yep.
Is
What
this-
can go wrong?
What could your largest model in the history of our assets?
Well, I mean, we've done buildings that are kind of in there, but I mean, they haven't had to move and coil around and, be a dragon.
It's actually kind of refreshing to see these assets because this is a blend of assets from years ago and some
Yeah.
more recent assets. So it's really rewarding to see Duviri actually come to life finally. So yeah.
Getting it all in the amphitheater. And if you didn't catch Tennocon and everything we showed, you can check out the gameplay from our YouTube channel. It's all
Everybody's
archived there with what
already
the
seen it.
Paradox
Everybody's
intro
already
will
seen
be.
it.
But this was our rerun of the theater.
Stinted on his
For
forward
the people that worked on it, I
and our
do appreciate
galaxy
everybody have a chance
draws
to
to a
actually get to
How different
walk around
from
and see the event.
hours in sweet Duviri, where the same
Indeed.
day may be lived over
And
over
thus
like a
concludes the theater rerun where you got to see all the assets in game. Hopefully everything was going well on your end, and if not, you can catch it on stream.
Yeah, if not, fuck you.
All right,
Ugh.
Dunzo Funzo.
Dunzo Funzo.
All right.
What next, Meg?
What next? Wouldn't that be exciting to say that we have the full Styanax anime? Like I said,
This
this
is
whole
what
dev
I'm-
stream is very focused on Veilbreaker. You're going to get first look at a lot of the stuff we've been working on for Veilbreaker, because I think the only thing we've ever shown is that teaser at Tennocon.
Yeah,
Yeah, tiny little trailer
Yeah,
and
tiny-
a tiny little
trailer.
part of what you're.
Yeah.
Two tiny little trailers, and you're
Yeah.
about to see a much longer.
Yeah, so I think just
Come on.
things to keep in mind is people probably didn't expect something like Veilbreaker at Tennocon. It's going to be the update that brings you our 50th Warframe Styanax. And like Megan said, this update is going to be the focus for the rest of the stream, from new content to revised content, and it's going to be a bit long, so get comfy.
Yeah.
But perhaps the appetite for our 50th Warframe, which I think for all of us is...
They talked about redesigning
Megan's going to eat Styanax before we show you.
augment mods,
But get
and I'm
cozy.
hoping that
This is what-
that's going to be in Veilbreaker
roughly
as well.
5 minute if you're an anime nerd like myself. Sit back, relax, get comfy, get a snack.
5 minutes?
Here is.
No, don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere.
Well,
Do not get a
Imaginary
snack.
Yeah.
Imaginary snack. Enjoy the Styanax anime.
He saved us, me and my brother, orphans of war. Brought us to this paradise to join the others. Until we came of age. Until he summoned us. He called it Ascension Day. "5 years ago, Darrow went to him. Now, it's my time.
My dear child, your ascension is at hand.
I mean, this looks fucking incredible.
All the chosen before you have played their part in my vision. I have something beautiful to show you.
Liar. Where's my brother?
Clever Aria, that fire, that singular determination, mine to wield. Behold, Leviathan. Your brother is here, somewhere, like all the other chosen. You alone will be its driving force. Get in.
I'm not alone. It's over.
A warframe? A relic. I will have to show you the future myself.
convenient that he was right there.
Goodbye, Darrow.
Fire.
We'll keep you close, Tenno.
I mean, that's a badass piece of splash art right there. 50th Warframe free for a limited time. Launching in September. Fascinating. Fascinating.
Oh boy!
All right.
Hope you enjoyed that. We worked with Passion Paris to make that anime, and it turned out incredible. Like, it's so wildly different from anything that we've ever really done in terms
That
of
is
making
true.
an anime. And we also have actually a limited time code for a Styanax display to celebrate this incredible anime. If you do the word Styanax on all platforms, promo code or in-game in the market, you can get yourself a display commissioned by the incredible Karoo. So thank you, Karoo, for working with us on a Styanax display.
Is that
48
available
hours,
now?
don't miss it. You can get yourself a display.
Right now on the public build. So I want to explain a little bit about Styanax.
Yes,
So
please.
he is our 50th Warframe. This is the 50th unique Warframe we've made, and I think we have a piece of art. Yeah. So as you can see, Excalibur being the original swordsman, and now Styanax, the I don't even know how to we call him Hoplite internally for a long time, but he's that spear and shield fellow.
Spear and field shell. Okay,
That's what, am I wrong?
Sure, sure.
And we're treating his release a little differently. So what we're going to do is, for the launch of Veilbreaker, if you log in to the first 2 weeks of the update, so it's going to come out in September, you'll know the date, and from that date, when we announce it, you can get Hoplite, Styanax, off to a good start, Styanax completely free just for logging in.
Yep.
After that point, he'll be in the usual spots in the market for Platinum, or where you actually earn him in-game, which we'll talk about later. But if you just want instant
Wild.
access to our 50th Warframe,
Wild.
he will be yours for free just for logging in for that 2-week period after we launch Veilbreaker, because this is very much an occasion worth celebrating.
50
It's a celebration of the 50. That
50
means crazy.
Warframes.
I know. So that's how that's going to work. So if you want to get your hands on him without having to use Platinum or go through the steps to earn him for free, you can, well, earn him easier for free.
Freer.
The freer than
Freer
free.
path.
Yes.
The free path, freer.
Yeah, there's free.
Freer
Free
path.
to
And
play
then
and
there's-
super free.
Incredible value. we need one of those like little
Yeah, free
things,
and
yeah.
super free. So
Now even freer.
yeah, in games of service, we really need to always be pushing the terminology forward. So there's free.
And now there's
With
free
25% more free.
Yeah.
Limited time.
Yes. And actually, speaking of Styanax, now is actually a good time to hop over to Actually, we have some assets too. We have tons to show for Styanax.
We have tons. Do you want to do gameplay first and then assets?
Well,
How do you feel?
I just wanted to give a bit more of the anime context, but we have a whole bunch of assets as well, from concept to the modeling work that Greg did. But just as a, you know what, let's do all that first and then we'll come
do
to
that
the game.
first. Okay. So first, we're going to show the original concept. This is by Keith Thompson from way back in the day. There's Hoplite, like you said, the internal name Hoplite.
I want see now
That's-
you know where I got it from. Don't
I mean,
blame
and
me,
it looks
Keith.
almost identical
And you
Yeah.
actually started
in
working on
game
that.
to the concept art,
You know
which
what? I just
they
I
don't
actually looked
always
back
pull
at-
that
at
off,
the,
and this
the
is
earliest
incredible.
iteration of my original authored files, and I think it was dated to November of last year.
Right.
And obviously, a lot of things happened in between. So this is how far back, at least on my end, and I bet that concept existed even before
There's
that.
probably a date on it, to be honest.
So
July 26, 2021.
there you go.
okay, so yeah, so I think the
I thought they
the
were gonna be like
early
2014
explorations were
or
as far
something.
as pre-Christmas time of last year, and I think, you know, we had a few other releases in between, and Tennocon obviously, and I think, actually it's funny, I did not know that this was the 50th Warframe until it was, you know, up until maybe a few months ago. So I think that really ramped up the pressure back then.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If people don't like this, it's your fault, Greg.
Yes.
Or
That's why it's free.
Or
One of the two.
Someone's fault.
But it is free, so you can't complain, right? That's the rules.
That's right.
And
This one
exclamation
was
point.
interesting. Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna say exclamation point Styanax isn't gonna get you anything in chat, by the way.
It's
this-
hoplite, actually.
It's oh no, no, you Sheldon. No, it's not gonna get you anything in chat. It's in game.
We just got them off. Come on.
Nothing in chat ain't gonna get you nothing. What were you gonna say, Pablo?
This one was interesting because since it was the 50th, we wanted to do the animation, so we needed to get it at least know what he was like way before usual, because they needed to do the animation and not be too. I mean, the animation is not like super tight with exactly how the powers work, but it needed to be on the ballpark. So this one has been around for a long time. Because the
suddenly be
animation
wielding
takes
a baseball bat or
Yeah. We switched him from Greek-inspired to baseball.
There you go.
Very soon into development.
It's really the case of art imitating art, I think, in a way, because I think that the anime came out in the middle of us still finalizing the model and everything, so it was a bit of, what would you call it, parallel development rather than series, where, you know, multiple things are progressing at the same time, and one influences the other. But it's also this animation is fantastic. That's a weird thing to see, you know, like one medium affect the other.
Yeah.
And also, it's kind of being in a walled garden of just working on, you know, all the character art stuff. It's kind of refreshing to be able to come out of it and see all of this other really awesome stuff. Get to feel like a fan a little bit as well. So yeah.
Yeah, the only problem with the animation is now I want more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on, because that's not going to happen.
That's true.
Okay, well, speaking of modeling, we have a couple more images from the helmet. Styanax has alt helmet that I believe you worked on. This is the first one.
Yeah, actually, I have to give credit to other members of our team. All the alternate helmets were made not by me. I think this one was roughed in, but we had another really talented artist on our team take over. Can we reveal that there's more?
Yeah, I'll show them in game.
Okay, yeah.
Don't worry, I got you.
There's a few helmets actually. And,
I like the base helmet a lot.
Yeah, we might have a few.
I think so far both of the two alt helmets are not for me.
So we had to kind of explore the theme.
I'm sure there's
this
somebody who will enjoy that. They look very cool, but I just
sort of infantry man.
I think I just love the base helmet.
That's a much better name, infantry man.
Yeah, so we had to really dig deep and figure out, you know, what those alternate helmets look like, and so I think. I think they did a great job on those.
They do look distinctly like
and
Greek
we have another
helmets,
image that
like
is
hoplite
nice
helmets, though. So
360 every angle you could possibly ever need of Steinax.
I'll give them that.
That's right. So in another case of
super,
I think working
super
in parallel,
zoomed out and
where
tiny.
we had the concept and illustration team having to get started on the Prex cards or the Prex card.
Oh.
Is that? Oh, I'm sorry. Did
No,
I?
we're
No,
gonna show
it's segue.
Okay.
Don't worry, you're
Okay.
perfect.
Whew.
There it is.
And so that's something
That's
that working in parallel with the
very
concept
cool
team,
card.
you know, in between the concept, the original concept, and of course my model, we had to make sure that we kind of coordinate, and you know, that those 360, you know, views are part of the process to get something to the concept team, so they can work from that as well. So, and
the problem is that
I
the
call it Eric. Eric did a
Prex
great job on
cards
that.
they
Eric,
do
he's
like
so strange.
one.
He's on the art panel.
yeah, he's gonna love
Actually, yeah,
being
people
called out.
might recognize Carrie from the art panel this year as well.
They
with,
do like
Eric.
one every other
Yeah, all right, so
year,
I
and
think it's gameplay time, right?
and
Sure,
that's it.
let's
Let's show Steinax.
Come on.
Which is a
over.
bummer.
We
Incredibly
Oh,
distracting.
this is the
to see
perfect
him.
timing. Oh,
look at
so
him.
good.
He's such a chat.
I did not see this item before. This
I
is
saw it
new.
today, and I was
Oh
like,
my
what?
God.
This is legal?
Yeah,
That
no,
is
it's
Capture by
incredible.
Jeff.
Really fills you with envy.
Captured by Jeff.
yeah,
exactly,
Jeff's last
Jeff
contribution to Warframe is mocapping this.
He has to get his fingies in
Yeah.
still, right?
Yeah, I know. He's like, none of you can pull off a one-arm chin-up like I can. So Styanax in game. Pablo and the team have put the kit together, which we're going to
He
get
looks
to, but
so
I'm just going to do a
fucking
little bit of
good.
preamble
He
before
looks
we do
so
that.
good.
He is going to be launching with a Void Shell skin. So, you know, everyone that gets their hands on Styanax, there's going to be a Void Shell skin launching with him as well. And he's going to have, I just need him to do that idle animation again. So
We're
I'm
just
gonna-
slowly waiting.
I'm just going to fill the airtime until he looks,
Stretch.
But he's also going to have a Levirian. So because we did the anime, as you can imagine, the Levirian and the anime are very closely linked, with maybe 1 or 2 more pieces of lore in the Levirian itself. So they complement each other really nicely. So if you're
Incredible.
I know, I just need to watch this. It's so good.
That's
Anyway,
wild.
so this
It's
is
so fucking wild.
I'm just gonna go burst in because why not? Classic legacy weapon. This is Steinax. That's his agile animation set. We can also throw on the noble
Let's
set.
see the noble.
And yeah, we can get a closer look thanks to this zoom technology 2022.
Man, that was one of my favorite stream moments, by the way. When we
You
segued
can
into that.
zoom. Oh.
Oh.
Greg, let's take a look at your modeling
Yeah,
work,
Greg.
shall we?
Inspiration? Any inspiration?
I
Oh,
have to
God.
maintain the product quality. So.
Yeah, so Styanax is really, really fun, really awesome, and we are going to be doing some gameplay with him, so I might as well, fashion frame him a bit first. Or wait, usually Jeff would say, stick with the default. But Carrie, you might have a different opinion.
What set are you going into so we can talk about color harmony?
Oh,
boy.
I'm not familiar with that term. Tell me more.
We know.
No,
Is there
you
a
wouldn't be.
feeling lucky button somewhere?
There
we
is,
just log right
random.
in?
There is. It's the random color. And
Yeah.
so,
How much random can you tolerate before you say just get on with the show? Because
I mean, everything's looking pretty good.
No, that's the beauty of it, right?
yeah,
You make great selections,
Full
Greg.
blue.
Everything
yeah, maybe I'll
works.
throw in
Ooh.
an alt helmet. We'll go with this one. Let's take a look.
It looked like there
Oh,
was
yeah.
3 alt helmets that you could.
Now we
you
might not
had
be
the
launching
2.
with all of them, so just keep that in mind. But we do have at least 2, so
Oh.
well, that's pretty cool.
Psych.
That is
Mhm.
very cool.
Yeah, I don't
We'll
much
go
care
back to
for.
a Gujian helmet.
See, I want to see the third
Pretty
one. I know they said they weren't.
I'm gonna
There's
take
a
off
chance
the,
they wasn't going to
filter
launch,
just so you
but.
can see all the detail work you did on the back, Greg.
Oh, that's
Hot off the
fine.
press, right?
Come
Yeah.
on.
All right. So
I
yeah,
mean,
like I said,
not
Styanax,
gonna lick the
Voicha,
butt, but-
Levirian, some customizations, and why don't you talk? Do you want me to like show the abilities first?
Nah, just go and game.
All right. And then you can tell which ones are Railjack, Helminth, all that fun stuff. All right. Are you ready to watch my gameplay in a totally new lens?
Yeah, I'm just gonna start patting.
Be like, slow down.
Have those quiet confidence. Just go right ahead.
We'll make it work. Actually, so this is all part of Veilbreaker as well. So Steinax is coming in Veilbreaker, the biggest QoL that we've ever added to the game. By the way, spoilers, if you didn't play the new war, don't ask where I am. But the time to use this little energy teleporter has been significantly reduced, almost by 75%.
Wow.
That is
Great.
some QoL right there. So
Perfect.
don't worry, guys.
We love to see
That's a
it.
wrap for the stream.
That's it.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you
for
very
being
much.
here.
Long stream.
Appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
Bye.
Code Styanax.
Yep. Thanks so much.
Hoplite.
Yeah. Hoplite. Wait, Spearman. What was it?
Spear infantryman.
Infantryman.
Infantryman. I'm probably just gonna hop to actually. I don't know. Complementary color has me on edge now, so
Oh boy.
I don't actually remember where you ended up.
I'm just gonna go.
Just blue.
You want me to fight Grenier, Corpus,
Estamo?
Infested? Any
Red?
preference?
Is that a compliment?
Grenier. 'Cause we can
Grenier
talk
is
about
blue?
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really
blue?
tricky
I'm gonna go to
is it
Ceres
blue?
because I feel like he'll fit in there or something, and I'm just gonna do it. Maybe I'll do a
Let's do
survival.
one or something.
Actually, I don't think there is survival on Ceres because it's.
Gabby, isn't Gabby a survivor?
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
not on Ceres. That's on the.
Okay, that's true.
All right. What's a girl to do in this day and age? You know what? Let's just do it normal. Interception's pretty okay.
Sure.
Let's do it, fam.
We made it. Here we go.
It only
yeah, so
took
talking a little bit about
45
Styanax,
seconds.
He's kind of interesting. I felt like when I saw the model, like there was something about it that felt kind of classic Warframe in a way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the fact that the legs are human legs, the arms are human arms. Oh, yeah,
By the way, this is coming with Veilbreaker, and it's pre-processing. That's why it's doing that.
it's a little chunky.
Oh,
and I think
so
his
we're
kit
getting
is
a,
also-
a
his kit
Grenier
is kinda
landing
like
ship. Good to know.
a little more stripped down
Wild.
in a way. It's not as crazy as some of the others we have made. So we started with this one. What would you put on Spear Boy for his one? Throwing spears. I mean, what else are you going to do? So you saw that throwing spear there. If you hit an enemy and then the enemy hits a wall, which happens a lot because there's walls all over the place and you hit them really hard, it creates a little vortex and whoops, as Megan, we recorded Megan for the sound effect. That is exactly the sound effect that we put there. And then you bring enemies together. So
Oh, damn, Reb. Oh,
Rev,
shit.
over here, hopefully you have infinite energy.
Sure do.
Planning
Need
ahead.
some enemies. We're ramping up. I don't want to fail the mission on stream.
Please don't. Make it look good.
Ooh!
Whoa.
Oh my god!
That
So
was
as you can see, he was-
kind of
He was
fire.
not long for this world. In fact,
Kind of fire.
because of the level, they might just kind of insta die here. But
They
let's see.
still suck. Like they do the vortex.
Yeah, so with the vortex, it's fairly long range vortex, so you can, if you do land it, and what she's doing right now is not necessary, but it's my instinct whenever I'm playing, which is jump and spear them down, because you want them to hit a wall. So if you jump and spear them down, that vortex happens near you, so you can control quite a bit with that.
That's kind of clever.
That'd kind of be your default thing to do if you're on Valis, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And then he's, oh, you know what? Okay, small break. I need everyone to
Pay attention, class.
yeah, sorry. I need everyone to do me a favor, make me a promise, handshakes all around. Let's pretend that little shield next to the health is not there. Everyone just pretend that doesn't exist. No one ever saw it. It's not a thing. Okay. Now,
Well, now that you've
Yes.
drawn attention to it, I
That is not
noticed
there.
it, but I wasn't
You
going
are
to
not
say
seeing what you're
anything.
seeing. I forgot that we turned it off for them. But yeah, anyways, doesn't matter.
Great.
So he's number 2.
This
slams
was
them with
my
his
big
shield, so
worry.
you get close to them.
About Pablo taking over as the
so low
creative
level that they might
director,
just
Oh,
die.
there you go.
or as
So
the
it does damage.
game
So
design
at this low
lead.
level, it kills them. But if
is
we
that
find a heavy gunner
he's
later, you'll see
just got a
it
bunch
cuts,
of really dumb
armor in
ideas.
half, and it cuts shields in half, and then does damage. So it's like a stagger, which staggers them for like 6 seconds. So it's like a micro CC, and then it also cuts their shields and their armor by 50%. And do I talk about armor shredding now?
Yes,
'Cause-
you do.
Okay, so when I was doing this one, I started kind of looking at how armor shredding works on different abilities, and noticed that it was pretty inconsistent. So essentially, in some Warframes, when we do armor shredding by like 50%, essentially what we do is first we go from 100 to a 50, and then if we take another 50, we just take 25 because it's a 50% of the 50%, and then you take another 50, and now we only took 12.5 and 7. And it just kind of go down,
sure,
down,
sure.
and it takes like
Diminishing
7
returns.
hits to fully remove armor. And that's how most armor shredding works. In fact, there's only one that's different, and that's Overrun. So Overrun, the way it works with him is if he does 2 strips of 50, he actually takes off 100%. So I didn't like that it was inconsistent, so we actually changed them all. Instead of to the way that most do it, we changed them to the Overrun way.
Oh
So
my
now
God!
all armor
Wow!
stripping abilities are more efficient, are more effective. So essentially, if you hit twice with a 50%, you'll strip 100% on all armor stripping abilities that are percent-based. I mentioned percent-based because, for example, Mag is not percent-based. She's like a fixed amount, so that one didn't change. It's only the percent ones that are changed. And we changed it for a whole bunch of them. I don't have a list with me, but it's a bunch.
That's
On
fucking
top of that, we also did a
wild.
few revisions to numbers on a few of them. So, for example, I'm gonna do this from memory. So sorry if I don't bring them up.
I am
but,
shocked.
Terrify. I
That's
think
great.
we went from like 30% to 75%. Overall, we went from 30% to 50% strip. We increased a few, not a ton,
That's
but like
really
4 or
good.
5. I think we increased.
Te-
And we also
Terrify
changed
is
a
an
few
underrated
from being
ability.
duration-based to being permanent. So the one I remember right now for that, I think, is Banshee with the augment.
The Sonic Fracture Augment?
Yeah, I think Banshee with the Sonic Fragment augment used to be duration-based. Now it's permanent. So once you hit
Oh,
them,
that's good
uh,
too.
they
Banshee
don't
getting a
have the
buff
armor
in
and they stay without the
2022
armor.
from
And oh my
Pablo.
god, breaking news, back to Styanax ability.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Shut up. Nobody cares.
You-
Nobody
you
cares,
do what you
Rebecca.
gotta do, but we gotta go talk about the other two.
Okay, sorry.
But it's also
anyway.
worth mentioning that shield one is the helmet's subsumability, so you'll be able
That
to
is the-
shield
yeah.
bash
Yeah.
as anyone.
Yeah, so the reason I looked at the whole armor shredding is because this one armor shreds, and in the process of seeing that inconsistency is that we decided to change everything, right? So, yeah.
Third ability, here we go.
Third ability, here we go. So this is a buff, and it's basically it's called Rally, or well, actually, I don't even remember what it ended up
Rally
being called.
point.
Rally point. There you go. So basically what it does is buffs nearby allies and yourself to get passive energy regen, and every time you get an assist on a kill, you gain shields.
And now, yes, I'm gonna do his ultimate before the level ends. So
Okay.
on one guy though, so prepare yourself.
On one guy, okay. Ultimate on one guy!
Whoa.
Hell Hell yeah.
That was some.
That's
So if you
fire.
if you
That's
saw the moment from the end of
fire.
the animation where he jumps up and then just summons like energy spears and starts throwing them at the thing, that's basically the ultimate. And basically it does a whole bunch of damage, does slash proc, so it's pretty beastly again, and it scales pretty well.
Yeah. Hell yeah. So that's Styanax, and he's coming.
Sorry, passive.
We're going back to the arsenal. We'll be fine.
The passive is he gets crit chance on weapons based on the amount of shields he has. So if you put a whole bunch of all the shield mods and you get over shields, which works with his tree, which is as you're killing, you start getting shields and getting over shields. That increases the crit chance with weapons. The effect is doubled for spear gun weapons, which I guess I also have to talk about.
Yeah. Oh, heavens.
It's a water power.
Yeah, I got half a Perrier, the other half's on the floor because I spilled it. But overall, that is gameplay of Steinax. As you can see, Axios Javelin, Theros Strike, Rally Point, and Final Stand make up his abilities.
That's a real 300 power fantasy, isn't it? His final ultimate.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely is. So he is the spearman.
He just needs a big kick. He just needs an animation where he
I don't
kicks
know if
someone
the
in
anime. I
chest.
don't. As you know, part of the fun with new Warframes is you get to watch all the idle animations to
different
see where
idles,
the
yeah.
personality comes through. So
We got a Jeff pull up.
we got the Jeff one arm pull up. Who knows?
That's going to be hard to top.
Let's do a live. I don't know what the other ones are right now, so this is very exciting. Why don't we go? Bow ones are always really interesting. So let's
With
see.
a great color scheme.
And now we stare.
And now we
Well, I
stare.
did see a question in chat
Everything
asking how we get Styanax for free. And it's going to be a 2-week window. Veilbreaker is going to launch. You just log into the game. You're going to get a nice little inbox, and you're going to get Styanax for free for that 2-week window. And then it will be, like you said, in its regular places.
And when it comes to the free path after that, we'll talk about this on stream too. So when we said it's going to be a long stream, we meant it.
Yeah,
So-
it's already 2:40.
Are you kidding me?
Nope.
Oh boy. Remember when I said it would be great, like first time, so hopefully, you'll be
Are
fine.
you past the first page yet?
Nope.
Nope.
Oh, good.
What, have
Perfect.
water?
Yeah.
Might take a break.
It'll
People
be
are flying.
fine.
We're going to have an intermission. We'll have a nice
but I
little
think,
intermission.
yeah.
There's not going to be an intermission.
What next? You done with, did we see his idol? I wasn't even looking.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, we did. All right, so within Veilbreaker, we're going to get towards the Veilbreaker quest and what you know about Call returning. But there's a lot of quality of life in this update. When I say a lot, I mean a lot. A lot.
There's a lot of
So
stuff.
much so that we have 18 pages of notes to go over.
We got a lot of notes.
Okay, so which one do we
Well,
start?
let's take a look at what Veilbreaker actually is at the top level. So it is our 32nd major update. So it's update 32. It's going to have a small quest that introduces you to the future of Veilbreaking. So if you've played the New War, you kind of can get the idea of where did the world state leave off after everything that happened in the New War. And Veilbreaker is the update that speaks to that, introduces new systems and things for you to play that speak to what state things might be in. So we're not going to give any spoilers, but I want to make sure that players have a pretty good understanding of all the expectations for this update. So there's a quest that's going to kick things off, and then it's going to lead into the two systems we're adding to the game for content, which we'll talk about. Then, of course, all of this is behind the New War. So if you haven't finished the New War yet, get on in there. We've done a lot of improvements to getting there from a new player perspective. We have even more coming in this update with junction improvements just to make that flow easier. But it does bring back a character from the New War. It brings a way for this new character, which, spoiler, it's Call, is going to interact with the world. Who could it be? How Call interacts with the world. And it's going to bring it down in a weekly activity way so players can sort of know what to expect when it comes to what they're going to be doing with the content here. And a lot of that content is around Call, and a lot of it is around something called the Archons, which if you've played the New War, you'll see. We're not going to show it for spoilers, but you'll get a really good idea if you are on the tip of the spear for.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's sort of the overview. And then with all the new comes quality of life. So we also have, I think there's a second slide here that tells you that, yes, of course, Styanax is coming, also new 50th Warframe. Quality of life and balance, new void shell, new cosmetics, of course. There's tons. So we can go through all of those things for people that have been waiting to see Protea Deluxe in action. And yeah, we'll just talk about the quality of life overview, and then we're going to get into it. Yeah, so if you want to.
We're going to start it off. We got Syndicate Pledge first.
What is that?
So you're going to be coming back to the slide a lot, Dean. So prepare yourself. So
Just a little back and forth.
yeah. So for Syndicate stuff, since the dawn of time, man has yearned to pledge to syndicates.
We've actually done this several times.
Yeah.
Like this is a bit of our Groundhog Day. Is like separating
Come to
aesthetics
gameplay,
from
please,
functionality.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't know
it's
how many times
crazy.
we've
It's
done
almost
this,
like
but
you
we keep
shouldn't
doing
I
be
think
that
I had it
way.
in my GDC talk, but if you don't know, if you love a syndicate, you put on a
Stupid.
sigil and you say to yourself, do I want to support, Steel Meridian because I'm based and awesome, or do I want to support Red Veil because I like to kill people? But what you'll notice is that
Fair.
the sigils, as you can see, no longer have any % associated with them, which means they're purely cosmetic.
Thank
Who knew?
God. It
knew?
only took
Yeah, so
6
essentially,
years.
I see chat already spamming. Essentially, we split that, so you no longer now the sigils are just
Holy
for who
fuck.
do you want to represent? What does look cool with your fashion frame?
Oh, how you
and
doing,
it no
Harvey?
longer has
I'm
any tie
having
to the
orgasms
gameplay
over
of
this
earning the
quality of
points.
life changes for
Now for
Warframe, so
that,
don't mind me too much.
when you just get to the system or when you want to switch, you go to the Syndicate's console, and there it is.
Pledge allegiance to a syndicate to increase your standing with that syndicate and its allies. Earn rewards. You lose standing with syndicates that oppose your pledged ideals, but can rescind your pledge at any time. So for
Seems
me,
like you've done voiceover work before.
some would say. So say I want to switch it up and be a part of the parent sequence. I click pledge. I am now pledged. He hates me.
Parent sequence.
You're right off.
Yeah, he hates me.
Are in our favor now.
But now he likes me, so I'm happy. But then at any time, I can rescind it if I want to swap. So yeah, you can just swap around, syndicate hop. Who should I choose, Pablo?
I'm a Red Veil kind of guy.
All right.
I'm very
Oh,
edgy,
wow.
as you can see.
Edgy.
True.
That you can see from my colors that
Yes.
in real life I definitely represent.
Yeah.
So basically
Croissants
just
are
by
delicious.
playing and by pledging yourself to
Yeah.
one of these syndicates, you're getting that standing.
I'm okay
And
so
we also
far. I'm
have-
okay.
We did keep a little bit
Lots
of,
of
like,
good
the
stuff in
bonus
this
for how much do you
Devstream
get.
so far.
Basically, as you rank through the syndicate, you'll basically start earning higher bonus, and that basically it really comes in more for speeding up if you want to do transitions between them or when you want to fill up your standing for.
Oh my God.
So if you hide
I-
us, Dean, what Pablo just said is right there in the UI, so you don't need to worry about that bonus because I'm max rank, earning 15% of affinity, so you'll be able to swap and stuff. The percent still scale based on rank for syndicates.
Yep,
I
and
literally
I-
just finished
did we show
doing
the
a
bottom?
syndicate swap
So there's
earlier this
change
year.
pledge,
Yeah.
right below your crotch.
I'm hungry.
Where you
A
belong.
croissant sounds amazing.
Lotus wannabe will get her time in the sun.
Oh, Lord. All right, so that's one of the many QRLs. Next one, Starter Warframe Reworked. We talked about this very briefly on the Dev Q&A.
Also, hi Bane, how
Right.
are you?
So the intention with this is sometimes, obviously, the first 3 frames that players will use, we know they won't have all the mods and all the things that all of our veterans have. So we wanted to kind of make them a bit more accessible, especially for that crowd. So we touched a few things. I don't have. We did those maybe between 3 and 2 months ago, so I don't remember them all by
I
heart.
got a whole list if you want me to rhyme it off to you. I won't, though.
You can tell me if I forget.
Okay, great. I'll correct you. Go.
So in Excalibur, the main focus was his 1. Basically, we added, if I remember correctly, we added /procs to every swing. It's much faster. It feels
And
snappier.
not
There was
from
some touch
the
3D effects
the
to make
racing,
it look a
which
little
was
more-
pretty bad,
more oomphy,
from the music
more satisfying when you're
specifically.
doing
I'm
the-
calling you out.
The attacks. For his 2, I don't think we changed anything in particular. For his 3, we did add a
Oh
/proc
my
to
God.
hit. We removed the enemy cap. Which I guess the enemy cap isn't really for new players. But anyways. And then
I want to see Bane do a little animation of just classic Harvey in bed, coming up, sweating, looking around, middle of the night, nothing's happening, and just Froggy Fresh just slowly sliding out from under the bed. Incredible.
that is if
Terrifying,
you have a lot of abilities that scale
but
every rank,
incredible.
then the improvements become exponential. Whereas if you just have 1, it's linear, right? So
I don't even
basically we
I don't
wanted
even
to make
dislike
it-
Froggy Fresh
you're raising the
so
floor,
much. I don't like
but
it,
keeping
but
the
like
ceiling the same. That's kind
I
of
don't
what
have
we're doing.
music requests
so
on,
we did
so I don't
that
have
with
to
this
listen to
once again for the intent of it being them feeling better when you
So
just
does
start.
that mean I can put /dash back on my Excalibur?
Yeah.
Should I consider doing that?
You should definitely consider it. It definitely can. It does pack a punch. Then for Mag, big changes on her too. That one we can show if you want. I don't know if you want to show it, but basically the problem generally with Mag is whenever you pulled, enemies would just pull in your
Oh,
direction.
you mean her one? Her one?
Her one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you said big changes for her too.
No.
Yeah.
So I was her too.
Her
You know,
as well.
Yeah, her as well. Additional. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So her pull, generally you would pull enemies and they would just end up way behind you and you'd have no way to shoot them. It'd be kind of uncomfortable often. So now when you pull, they pull in front of you. We made a little vortex in front of you, so you kind of just gather them up and smash them. It is honestly maybe a little too powerful, but it is really fun. It feels much better to use. You can gather enemies and just kind of, if you're using melee, you can just slam them right there.
It feels objectively better than
the second
every
ability, it
other
also is very
like
good because you basically
first
gather them
ability
on the
radial
bubble.
blast.
So it definitely feels
So
pretty
this
good.
is
One
this
thing
is
we
going to be
did change
interesting
here is
to
because
see.
it's so much powerful, so much more.
I'd like to see if
powerful now,
Inaros
the
or
helmet
Banshee
version was
get touched
reduced.
because
So
I feel like
just
they
bear
all
that
have-
in mind if you're gonna
Shut up,
be
Pablo.
using it.
like they have very similar abilities. The difference is that Mag pulls enemies towards her, whereas Banshee and Inaros push them away. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm not even detachable penis. That's God. Who's that? God. There's a rapper. I think Chicken Noodles turned me onto him. I'm not gonna remember his name right now. Little Dicky? Is that? I don't think that's right. I'm not gonna Google it because of TOS, but that just seems like some shit that
Around you.
that
If
rapper
enemies
would
get
come
close
up
to
with.
you, they deal damage to them. And then also, if you then cast the magnetized bubble, those little things will fly into the magnetized bubble to basically buff it up as you guys are used to, right? So you can see them spinning there and dealing damage. Well, that guy was already dead, but you see what I'm saying. And I think that's it. I think that's it. So it's mostly about buffing, making the mechanics of the polarized shards much more clearer, connecting them to other abilities, and then making that one way more powerful.
People that play the Index are saying they're financially stressed by that ability.
It's
true.
Index folks.
And finally, Bolt. Bolt is the one that received the least amount of changes because he was pretty
Volt's
solid already.
really fucking good.
A lot of what I mentioned earlier, buffing those base stats to max rank. His one is now 15 energy instead of 25. That's something we're trying. Just like, how does it like? We generally first abilities have always been 25, kind of universally. We're trying it on this one, see how it feels to have a 15 energy version of it.
See,
for his,
the issue is that Volt, like, once you understand how Volt works, Volt is a very powerful Warframe. I don't think Volt is necessarily so powerful from a beginner standpoint. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, I haven't played... I didn't have Volt as a starting character. Volt wasn't even a starting Warframe when I started this game. I'm old school. I started with Loki. I started playing this game 8 years ago. So maybe I'm talking out of my ass. The idea of starting a new Warframe account has crossed my mind a couple times, though. So.
See, now as I thought. That's excellent.
Perfect. I'm just going to jump in, and I saw someone in chat asking about the gilding changes. That's just a conversation. So essentially, as we're looking through, like I said, the New War is a prerequisite to play the Veilbreaker stuff, getting people to New War in a way that is streamlined and interesting and fun with all the content we have. Gilding changes speak to that. So essentially, the gilding system as it is now, it takes your modular gear and it, you can gild it to not only increase their stats, but also to start earning mastery from it and other things. But what we've done with gilding now is, as a functionality for modular gear, it is now the gate to mastery. So that means that your modular stuff, from your Zaws to your kit guns, are going to give gilded level stats when you build it. and then you can choose to gild it if you want to earn mastery. So gilding for the player that's looking for power, or I think customizations too still actually. But as far as functionality goes, you will get your stats at the just modular level, so that if you're wanting to build a different amp because you know you need a better amp for the quests to come after Second Dream, you'll be able to get stats from those before having to gild and turn in, which really comes down to the way that the QoL's syndicate works, because you know you need to progress a lot in that syndicate before you can gild your amp. But now the
this
amp
is fine.
is going to just be better as you're earlier in that syndicate, which was the real motivation for that change.
That's fine. I don't have an issue with that.
One change I forgot about both, and I just saw chat.
Senile.
One more.
I just saw someone in chat mention it. I did. The speed buff is actually higher now a little bit. I don't remember the number. What?
No, fuck off, Pablo.
Yeah.
You're not. Fuck that.
And we're slightly increasing the duration, not a lot. I know because the comment I was seeing in chat is like, hey, increase the duration. I don't like the in general.
Stupid.
I think it feels better when a buff is not like something that you just have all the time, because then you don't even really like feel when the speed comes in. So it's higher. It's constant for all ranks. So rank 0 will have the same duration as max rank. They're all
what a
raised
nightmare.
to the ceiling. It's a little higher, but not a lot higher. But the speed itself is higher.
Excellent.
Anything else?
I don't know.
All right, let's move along.
Throw more words in chat, and
Yeah.
we'll start seeing what comes.
All right, ribbon changes.
Ribbon changes.
Right. So with ribbons, if you come to the game,
prime
gameplay,
ribbons. Here we go.
Kind of recap how they currently work. You never know someone's experience level in chat, but essentially you have ribbon slots, and those ribbon slots are occupied by any ribbon you get in the game. So
ribbon capacity.
Yeah. So your ribbon capacity. Mine right now is 117. I'm almost at capacity, and every ribbon I get is going to feed into that. But we are changing that.
We're changing that. I made a great video on it, Dean. If you'd like to roll my video that I made this morning. Yeah, so basically there's those two stats. Now we have a new kind of state for the ribbon, where essentially you're going to get your ribbon and it is going to stack, and it is going to be basically a secret. You're going to obviously know what weapon to put it on so that you can equip it. As you can see, it kind of goes by a little fast, but as soon as you equip that ribbon onto that weapon, it unveils it, you can see what the actual challenge is, and then it counts towards your ribbon capacity. So you can just keep earning ribbons and not equipping it and knowing what it's for, and it doesn't stack towards that capacity you have.
Yeah, it's like a pre-capacity bucket, so that sometimes we've always struggled with, you can't do a sortie because your ribbon capacity is full, and that's just sort of a bit of a not a pleasant flow for the player. So this solves that.
Yeah, essentially it was like it felt sometimes like a pressure to purchase, which we generally don't like. We like when players buy something because they either want to support us or they want to actually get something in the game. And this sometimes felt like, well, you cannot play anymore. Like you cannot do sorties if you're at cap and things like that. And it just felt bad to add that pressure there. So we just changed it so that it's a little more lax, and you can kind of save them there. And then once you actually want to start using them, then you do that step to kind of reveal them. It does add a little bit of complexity to the system because now we have 3 states, but it's not too much. So I think it's
not too much.
It is kind of silly in that regard, but like it's a good thing, so I'll give it a pass.
Next up.
Oh, what you got for us, Meg? Where are you taking us?
Hot off Pablo's Twitter.
Oh God.
Oh.
You guys need to start
Wukong
tweeting
changes.
stuff for-
Wukong nerfs.
You don't
Wukong nerfs. Wukong nerfs.
But I can,
Smart.
I can assume where chat's going to guess where this is going to go. Wukong.
Oh, Wukong. I'm actually going to talk about AoE and put
Go for
Wukong
it.
somewhere in there.
Go for it.
Okay.
Jump right into AoE, Pablo. Let's
Okay,
do it.
so we're going to go directly into AoE, and that's why I brought this page. That's how complicated that one is.
But the rest of us can just
good.
sit back, relax. Okay, I think our job is to react to Pablo.
Yes,
This is like a we
Yikes,
want to get the thumbnails.
this is gonna be
onto
bad.
react
This is
streams.
this
I
is
can't
why I
believe
didn't
you
want
do
Pablo
this.
to be the lead game designer.
What
For
are
the
they
record,
doing?
for what's about to happen,
I can flip the table. Or
this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
why
I
I'm
already
worried
knocked our
about
water
this.
over, so.
This man has some good
Yes,
and
it's
bad
true.
ideas.
Treachery and all.
So AoE.
There we go.
Done.
So AoE. Here we
You guys
go.
can stop. Over to him. There
Yeah.
we go.
Basically, as you guys know, AoE has been pretty dominant for a little while, particularly given some of the changes that we made in the past, such as removing the self-damage, That's one of the ones that really kind of boosted up things, because now that there's no
For a long time,
obviously in hindsight we can see now that actual functionality was doing quite a bit of work on maintaining the usage of AoE under control, and that control has been gone for a while. So the first thought is like, okay, why are we changing it? What reasons do we have? So
it'll
we generally
depend
look
very
at, there's many things
much
to look
on
at
how
whenever
they
we
change
decide
it.
to make a change, but there's three that generally do me pretty well for almost any gameplay thing that I'm looking at. One is looking at how automated is it? You know, is it something that you're actually playing? Is it something that you can kind of not play and ignore? And for this, we actually have some
We have
video.
footage of how we play right
Live,
now.
live for the live build. We have AoE
Yeah,
footage.
this is live build footage of how. I think there's a few. This is showing the fact that there's no consequence to using it. Well, there's a few things being shown here.
Okay, when you put it like
Essentially, you
this,
can run through a mission
it
like
looks
this, kinda
it
shooting
looks
a
really
rocket
bad.
at your feet, murdering everything in a long range. You never run out of ammo. You never suffer much damage. It's very. I wouldn't say it's automated, but I would give it a half a point for automated.
We can take a look at full automation with the second AoE video.
Yeah, the second AoE is a little more. Yeah, so there's this one. This one basically, we had one of the testers try this, and he stayed there several minutes, never ran out of energy, never ran out of ammo, never died. Like he could even collect enough survival thingy from just standing there doing essentially nothing, just shooting at the floor. You don't even have to see the enemies.
Back to about 8 years ago when we first debated putting an explosive weapon into the game
Yeah.
at all.
Look at us now. Did you say yes to that, Carrie? Look at this.
So is this Carrie?
So
the
it
real reason-
possibly be my fault at some point in there.
You
yes.
wanted grenade launchers, Carrie, didn't you?
Well, I liked Quake a lot.
All right.
Rocket
Oh
jumping.
my
That's right.
God.
Look what we've become.
So yeah, we feel like this style of gameplay has become pretty. It's pretty bad. Like you're
You're
it's
playing
not.
a game.
Yeah, you're not playing
yeah,
a game. Yeah, and
you're
I think
not-
just for like people that are mentally organized for how we're going to go through this, there's three core rules for how we address balance. And the first one is automated,
Right.
and then you're going to take us through the other two, and we have some more videos.
Right. So the second one is dominance, and we've done this before. For example, with Catchmoon, when weapons become so overwhelmingly dominant that you basically have almost no choice but to use them. If you use anything else, you almost feel like you're playing wrong, because what's going to compete with what you're seeing on screen, right? Like it's just, you're just devastating entire rooms without having to aim, without a care in the world. It's very hard to have anything else that can compete with something like that. So right now, out of our top 5 weapons, all 5 are AoE. They comprise 47% of our weapon usage. It's essentially kind of all there is. So
Use AoE or you're playing wrong as a trend. So yes, you can come back to us now, Dean. I'm sure people are not getting any entertainment.
Do you get it yet?
Yeah. No. That's fair, yeah. But like that's just the
look at it.
That's the extreme use case. That's when like that particular use case is when you are automating and playing. People do play and engage with Warframe with AoE
Right.
weapons. We're not painting everyone with the same brush. We're just showing the extremes that we see when we get these reports. And actually the last point. So if you're not doing that, you're playing wrong. And the final one, which is for our co-op game the most important, are you disrupting other players?
Yeah, and that comes down to like how disruptive is your gameplay to other players that might join you. Because at the end of the day, this is a co-op game. We need to try and keep the game fun for everyone, and so make it so that one player cannot kind of quote unquote ruin it for the rest. I think a great example of this is when we made changes to Limbo. The problem wasn't really that Limbo was too strong or that Limbo was whatever. It was mostly that whenever a player was playing with all Limbo, it was just annoying to play with the old Limbo because you would just shoot the
Limbo
enemies, you couldn't
is
shoot them.
garbage.
Like Limbo could really ruin the game for you.
Yeah, rest in peace, my JoJo frame. It's fine. We move on.
And I think it's similar for this. We don't generally see players asking us to nerf things. It's very, very unusual. But we are seeing it quite a bit with AoE. I'm sure you've seen it on forums and Reddit and Twitter. I get this is one of the. I can't even remember another thing I've been asked to nerf in DMs before.
I don't know. I got into not an argument, but I sort of played devil's advocate about this with somebody on Warframe on Twitter about Warframe a few weeks ago, and it's like, I can see both sides of the argument. Like, when your fun is hurting somebody else's fun in the game, I can see where changes start to be necessary. I'm not even like a big AoE guy. Like, I love stuff like the Tiburon and you know, more the traditional shooty bang bang guns, but yeah, I can see that.
Let me start with ammo. So ammo, we're already working on changing ammo before we started doing this, and it just happened to be
I
something
wonder
that
if
worked
they're
pretty
just
well
changing
together.
explosive
So
ammo,
what we
or
wanted
if it's
to
going to
change
be.
So I'll start with what we were changing for ammo, and then at the end I'll mention why it matters for AoE. So in ammo we have 4 different types of ammo that drop regularly in the game. We have 5 if you count heavy ammo, but I won't. So those 4 types basically will be secondary, primary, shotgun, and sniper. And then basically those drop on the floor. They have different colors, and then you pick them up. For the most part, players are not really very aware of ammo because you can just kind of ignore it. It doesn't really serve much purpose other than seeing a whole bunch of little color things sprinkled around the level. So we were trying to simplify it, and we are changing it into primary and secondary only. No more separation for shotgun or for sniper. So what does that mean for you if you came with your shotgun to a mission? It means that now when you kill an enemy, instead of having 1 out of 4 chance of getting ammo that actually helps you, you now get 1 out of 2, so that basically now ammo is a little more plentiful for you. On top of that, we actually increase how much ammo you get from each bucket because we reduced how often they drop. So they're now twice as useful. We reduced how often they drop by half, so now we're even, and then we increased how much ammo they give, so now it's above. Does that make sense?
It does. Okay. So when we talk about like this so far, how does this relate to AoE? We'll get to. You said you're going to take a few different angles, but I think, you know, if you're really passionate about AoE, definitely listen to everything we're saying here, and we're going to have recaps. There's going to be overviews. We said it was going to be a long stream, and we meant it, and we still have art to get to. Don't worry over there, guys.
Oh, goody.
And yeah, so at this point, ammo as a vector to try and balance AoE is the first.
Right. So after those changes, how does this relate to ammo? Well, if you remember when there was an attempt to nerf Brahma before, well, I say an attempt because it didn't really work. The attempt was reduce how much ammo it has, reduce how much ammo you get from each ammo pack, with the idea that that would kind of throttle how much you could shoot it. The reason it didn't work is because ammo packs drop so often that with ammo mutation, you could basically keep up your economy of ammo without really having to care at all. Now that ammo packs are a little more spread, they drop half the time, you actually can run out of ammo, which is definitely quite new for us. But we can actually now use ammo for balancing, whereas with the previous system, we really couldn't. Now, for weapons that have large ammo pools, this is actually a buff because since you have a large ammo pool, you can wait for the next ammo drop to come, and now it'll give you even more ammo than before. So for those weapons, don't really worry too much about those. Those are totally fine. But now we can actually use this system as a way to throttle the Brahma.
Yeah, and I think just as someone that has my 5-form Brahma, and I still love it, it's not a matter of, like, we don't want to take the Kuva gear that you've earned and you don't want to use it anymore. So this will be a very reactive balance approach. And I think just when it comes to intention and the fiction of something like the Brahma, which is an AoE explosive arrow, maybe it's better that I don't use it on one single enemy and then raid again on a group and just try and be more tactical. So it's just about using your grenade launcher on one enemy versus clustering and being just a bit more strategic. And that's it, really, for
Yeah,
intent.
we didn't really want to make it so, because a lot of the suggestions
I hate to
that we
admit it,
saw
but
for
like,
how to
yeah.
handle this was like, just reduce the damage until it's considerably inferior to single target. But we felt that went against the fiction of shooting a grenade launcher to someone, you know? Like if you're shooting a rocket at someone's face, it needs to be punchy. It needs
best
to
thing that
kill
I've
a bunch
ever
of
heard
enemies.
Pablo say.
It just needs to not be as
honest.
mindless as it is right now, where you have not a care in the world for, you know, if you're aiming at one guy or if you're aiming at 5, it's all the same to you.
Yeah. So because we're talking about ammo, I don't know if you're going to go into the holster speed stuff from here.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Oh,
because
God,
there is
no.
depending on your builds or how you manage your gameplay,
Unless
there's
it's
a
a buff.
likelihood you'll be holstering and weapon swapping more, which means we're actually going to buff that.
Right. This is a long-standing change, and we have a video kind of showing it.
Thank God.
Essentially, we're changing holstering. You can see there on the right, we have the new one. On the left, we have the old one. And essentially, we remove the first animation where you go and holster in, and then we sped up
Holy
the second
shit.
animation where you holster out. So
That's
now
wha-
switching
that's
between
half.
weapons
That's
is
more than
considerably
half.
faster. So it actually enables you
Yeah,
a little bit more
3
to bring
Incredible.
workhorse weapon as your secondary that you can use to kill around, and then on your primary you can keep your AoE nuke. So you nuke a few times, you start running low on ammo, you switch to your secondary, you kill a few enemies, gather ammo, and then switch back, and then you can do that, that back and forth.
Again,
it really is
6 years
kinda
late, but
that is the reason there is a secondary. Right? Like the whole point of the secondary was so that you could.
and there's a lot of really powerful secondaries and AoE secondaries
from your
as well.
primaries, so that you could have several tools.
You could
but it
sort of
never
flip
really has
between
quite been like
you know
that because,
power weapons
generally
pretty
primaries were
effectively
so,
without having
so
to
dominant that didn't
worry
happen.
about that too much. I don't think.
I saw a question in chat about big or swap. We did a pass on all the mods that had holster speed. Some of them we just removed. So for example, in big or swap, we just left the damage buff untouched, and we just removed the holster speed part because it makes no sense now. We do have some mods that are just holster speed that we changed to now. I'm not going to improvise what they are right now, but we changed them. They still exist, and they do something related to holster, which my memory does not allow me to recall right now.
That's okay. I think just this, we're giving you all the information, basically what we've been working on behind the scenes. We will have notes, and we will of course be reading everything. And then once this goes live, we'll be going over everything. So this is where we are, our headspace, what's been implemented, and then this is going to be a bit of a longer stream. I do have some sort of state of things at the end just to give people some insight into bigger development projects. But we still have a few more things to go over for this, and then
Yeah, I forgot to mention ammo mutation on the ammo part. We're doing stuff about ammo mutation. No worry, we'll look at it. The next thing is headshots.
Yes.
So right now, AoEs can do headshots. It's not a very significant part of their damage. From the tests we did internally, it depends on the weapon. We basically, one of our programmers set up a thing that we could see stats live as we were playing and compare damage with headshot multiplier and without headshot multiplier. And from the tests that we did internally, basically it was a difference between like 4 and 10% damage. So it's not a huge nerf to AoE weapons, but basically AoE weapons can no longer deal headshots, the explosion part. If you hit someone with the Brahma, with the arrow on the head, that will do a headshot, but the explosion itself won't do headshots. In practical gameplay, it's not a huge deal, but
I was gonna
it
say,
always felt kind of absurd that
I
flamethrower
agree.
could deal a headshot. It just never made sense.
It
Oh.
doesn't work for me in real life. It shouldn't work in Warframe.
Okay,
Don't ask.
we'll see your bullet shell.
So AoE counts for beam weapons too. That's
So we changed that for AoE, so they no longer
sucks.
do
That's-
headshot multiplier. And
that's
then
a different conversation.
The other kind of side of like, okay, well, if AoE is too strong, then maybe we need to lift the things that are not AoE. Basically, for any sort of precision weapons, we increase the headshot multiplier to 3 times multiplier. So now, if you land a headshot with an actual weapon, you actually do more damage. So that way you can.
That's
your
really
Reworked, which
fucking
actually is
cool.
pretty
There,
highly used,
I know a lot of
and then
people
you
who
deal a headshot
use
with it, now
precision
it's a
weapons.
Triple the damage. So basically, you have
Who it used to be double.
more incentive to use
Yeah.
precision weapons there.
That's gnarly.
So that's basically
That's
the blast, like
wild.
you said, no more headshots, but single target has been increased.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and generally, like as a mechanic,
I
headshots are
hate that I agree with
generally
all of
there
this shit.
to reward precision,
Pablo,
so it didn't really.
you're really turning me around. I can appreciate that. Everything I've heard so far has been gold, and you've almost redeemed yourself for the nullifier enemies. So we're getting there.
Body before you hit the head,
Yep.
so it would almost never count as a headshot. So it's a low occurrence thing, but we are changing it. And then the mods.
Yes. So you can actually come back to my gameplay now, Dean. I'm gonna just show I think we're only touching 2 Prime mods.
2 primers.
Yeah, so Prime Firestorm and Prime Fulmination.
Yep.
Yeah, which is
So,
the explosion, the
historically,
AoE range.
Whenever we've done prime mods, we generally increase the stats by about two times. Not as much as 2, but about that. So, for example, I have examples here of continuity goes from 30% to 55%. Flow goes to 150 to 275. So it's not exactly double. It's a little less than double, but close to that. And then we have some that grow less, that grow about only like 50%, like Pressure Point goes from 120 to 165, or Pistol Gambit goes from 120 to 167. So generally, that's how we do it. On this one, on Prime Firestorm and Fulmination, we went triple the bonus, which was kind of crazy in retrospect. Obviously, it was unusual, and it was also a mistake, because we can now see that AoE is really, really brutal. So we're going to bring those down to be similar to other frames, similar to other Prime mods. So it's going to go from 24% to 44% when it's the Prime one. So those two are changing to be more in line.
And we are doing compensation for
We are,
players.
yep.
So anyone that's modded, or fused this mod to max, you will be reimbursed if you are no fan of the changes.
Yep.
That's nice.
We have a couple others that are also outliers that we're also changing. Tactical Pump and Reach, but in the case of those, we're changing in a different way. Instead of lowering the Prime, we're actually increasing the base one. So just a plain old Reach is going to increase to 1.5. A Tactical Pump is going to increase to, I think it's 60% or something like that.
Yeah, but I think one thing when it comes to, why is the AoE meta the way it is and all of these things, every time we do an update cycle, we release a Prime, and I'm just going to go into this part now, so you can stop me if you weren't done there, but
there's more stuff.
I know, but I wanted to just kind of acknowledge the reason a player might be inclined, or sometimes they say they feel forced to use AoE or something. So with something like a big AoE build where you just want to go in and you just want to mop the floor with everything and get out, a lot of the motivation to do that is because, say we release Core Prime, you're playing a Lith Relic. So you're going to be playing level 7 content, and you're way more experienced in the game. So what we're doing to give players a different option that actually want to crack Lith Relics, but with a bit of a challenge, and you'll still have the choice of course. But if I go to navigation now, you're going to notice something we're adding. So if I switch to Steel Path, we're adding Void Fissure Steel Path missions, so you can actually do your Lith Relics at a higher difficulty. And you'll also get Steel Essence for it and the usual Steel Path things. So if you want to do your Lith Relics at the base level 6 to 8, you're still free to do so. But you can now actually do harder relic cracking if you're so inclined, and you'll get a little bit of a plus for it, which comes in the form of Steel Essence and anything else that this entails. Because generally speaking, if you've played Warframe a long time and those Prime access cycles are coming, you might not look forward to playing that Lith mission. And I'm just picking on Lith. You did nothing wrong, Lith, but you're just so
except
low
being level 11 to
all
13.
you did wrong was be level. So this is another QoL change that's coming with Veilbreaker.
Yeah, the main intention here is for a lot of players, it makes absolute sense that if you have a bunch of mods and a bunch of weapons, and we ask you to go and do a level 11 mission, you're not going to have a lot of fun because it's so easy for you.
But you can still do it if it is fun for you.
Right.
You have the choice, Steno. So
you choose whatever you want to do, but it's understandable that you're going to try to min-max it to the extreme because you just want to get out of there the fastest you can. We understand that, so we want to give this alternative to you where you can get some extra rewards for doing the cracking of the relics that you were going to do anyways, and hopefully you'll also find the gameplay more to your level and to your liking when you're doing those.
Yes.
And Acolytes still spawn it.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Same thing, just relics.
Yep, that's it.
One minor thing on the mods that I forgot to mention, Furious Wraith, we're also changing. The Furious Wraith Amalgam mod, which essentially has in it increase of AoE range, which is such a valuable stat to have in some random Furious mod. That one is going to get changed. Right now, I believe it increases now fire rate to secondaries.
Yeah.
I think is what it increases now.
So if you find, all things AoE, that's basically what we're doing for sure for the Veilbreaker update. And then there's some other potential things we're going to do. One of them is potentially adjust the self-stagger. So the first one would be, right now you put on Prime Sure-Footed, you're good to go.
Yeah, so to be clear, that's where we end with the changes.
We're done.
And I'm sure, I think none of them are too extreme. I think all of them are, like on their own, they probably wouldn't move the needle enough. We're hoping that coming at this from several angles, a little bit at a time, makes it so it's not too painful, but it also actually makes a difference. But we also tried a few other things that we're gonna keep on our back pocket for now. We're gonna save for a part 2.
If it's needed.
If it's needed, because we want to see how this one's pan out first. So I won't go into a lot of detail about this one, but I do want you to be aware that these are things that might come, that these are things that we try, because I already saw a couple in chat where they were asking, like, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? So I'll go over them kind of fast. One is the fiction of AoE generally has been, if you explode something in your face, you'd get some sort of consequence for it. Initially, it was the damage. Then we changed that to the stagger. And right now, essentially, that stagger, that knockdown, gets removed with a mod that you can get on day 400, which is Prime Sure-Footed. So we did experiment with changing that one to either work like Cautious Shot, where it just downgrades the thing, or simply only work on enemy CC. We're not going to release that right now, but it definitely is something that we are considering. If you saw that initial video of the running around, shooting at your feet as you run around, because you can still do that. You cannot do it for as long because you run out of ammo, but you can still do that, and it is kind of weird. But anyways.
He's going.
Yeah. The other thing is line of sight. Right now, AoEs can hit enemies through any sort of line of sight.
Not happening in game yet. These are things we might do after we evaluate. Just
Correct.
to be clear, we want you to know where we are. That's the whole point.
Line of that's
So the
stupid.
one we were trying with that is essentially to make a line of sight check that was a little more forgiving. So it has an initial area where it doesn't check line of sight. So if you explode something right next to someone, they would still get destroyed. So basically, kind of rewarding you aiming in the general direction of the enemy. But if they were further than a certain distance, we would check LOS. So that is something that would work for something similar to that other video where we're like shooting at the
I
floor
think
in
that's
front of us
dumb. I like all the rest of the changes.
We're dying on the other side of the wall.
Even the
Things
the
that
stealth
would be
stagger.
something
I know
like
they're not implementing it, but like
something that a lot of games do to kind of combat this sort of thing is
Line of sight
drop
doesn't-
bias system, which is basically to say if I kill enemies with an AoE, the ammo that drops is not for that weapon; it's for a different weapon. So that it kind of forces the ammo to go dry, and it forces you to go into your melee, because now when you kill with your melee, you get ammo for your AoE.
Yeah.
A bunch of games do this. It is pretty effective. We don't want to do it right now, because again, we are hoping that these initial changes that we did will be strong enough.
Yep.
And the final one doesn't even make sense to explain, because I didn't explain how ammo mutation is going to work, but stuff without mutation.
Yeah, so the first three sort of are the state of weapon balance in Veilbreaker and what's coming. So not only do we have the ammo simplification, the headshot reduction for AoE or elimination for AoE, but buffs for single targets, and then Prime Firestorm is essentially being changed to still Prime mod trends, but not the 3 times, which is an outlier, and like we said, we know that was a mistake. But that is the overview in the context of AoE. But we have a slide here that we're blocking, but if you wanted to take a screenshot, this could be the version of it that you take. And then I just quickly want to go to Wukong and just to talk about how, as a Warframe, Wukong takes everything we just talked about with AoE and our philosophy, which is automation, is it dominant or is it disrupting other players, and is a perfect case study in all that. And we are going to be making some tweaks to Wukong. I think we'll just roll my video of me playing on the live build, just so you can take a quick look at what you can currently do with Wukong, which is actually something you can't do as a player. So this is where it all comes in. So right now, I have my Wukong out. He has the Kuva Brahma. My Celestial Twin is out there. And he doesn't need ammo, so he can do things that I simply cannot do, which is he can use the Kuva Brahma like well, I guess I could have used an ammo restore, but just practically speaking, he's just going for it. ammo, not a care in the world.
Yeah,
and
that's
he's,
pretty fucked.
Automating the game for me, which, you know, you should. Celestial Twin is meant to be your second in command. He does a lot of damage. This is okay, but we're making changes.
Yeah, so we're mostly focusing on that first ability, which, as you can see here, is pretty powerful. The main change, first of all, we're halving his damage. So right now he copies exactly the damage that you would do, which in retrospect, it's always been too high. So we cut in half, but we also increase the damage if you mark a target.
Which some people might not even know you could do, because why bother? But you can mark targets with Wukong's Celestial Twin.
If you mark a target, then the Wu clone will focus on that enemy and will deal extra damage. Now he deals even more damage to that one enemy. So basically it's rewarding an active playstyle where you're actually telling him what to do. Generally, you only want to do that for, like, if you see an Eximus or if you get an Acolyte, things like that is where you want to use it. The other change we did is that he now actually uses your ammo. So that means you can no longer stand there and just watch him do the thing. Testers actually try this, and basically you can feed him ammo. So you can be around killing enemies with your melee, get some ammo for your clone, and you can keep feeding him so he can still work. But again, you have to play. It's all about making it so it's not all automated. And the last change is that he now actually is affected by the explosion, so he now will get staggered. He will get all that. Now, in practice, most players that have Wukong will also come with prime sure-footed, so
he inherits your loadout in that respect.
So that last change is almost like a non-change if you're already putting prime sure-footed, but anyways, that's.
But we are buffing his 4.
Yeah, from reading a lot of, like, you know, I was reading a lot of, like, posts and
trash.
stuff of what people expected to change with Wukong after I mentioned in Twitter that I was going to change him. A lot of people expected nerfs to his 1, which I just told you what they are, nerfs to his 2, and that's where I'm going to subvert expectations.
Wow.
Watch out.
Yeah, watch out. And we're not going to change his 2. Essentially going back to those sort of, like, pillars of why nerf things. We feel his 2 is not something that you'd automate. It's not something that's disruptive to other players.
Yeah.
Is it a bit dominant? It is a bit dominant because it is really fast, but it is a lot of fun.
I mean,
and when we were thinking about
it's not bad necessarily, but you just disappear into a cloud and move really quick.
When we nerfed that, we would be
it's helpful,
fun,
but
and we really didn't want to do that. Where we feel like we need to reserve those sorts of changes for automation, disruption, etc., etc. So his 2 is untouched. His 4th is getting a buff. Essentially, he's getting a little more base damage on it. We're not fully restoring, but adding a little bit of the range growth with the combo. It's not as huge as it was before, but it still gives you, I think, up to like 3.5 meters, something like that, so more than a prime stretch. And we're also adding at the end of his forward combo, where he does like a stomp on the floor, he'll do a little vortex to pull enemies to you.
That's
so
kind
that
of
you
the
can smash them.
theme of the stream. Styanax, vortex. Meg, vortex.
I do like vortex.
Vortex. So
Yeah.
if you didn't like
we've
vortexes
discovered-
before, you may like them now.
We've
Yeah,
discovered
so
Pablo's
those are,
design philosophy,
Those are the changes.
bringing everyone
Right,
together.
So I'm going to take a pivot now
whether
to talk
they
about
want to be or
Veilbreaker,
not.
as new content. So what we've talked about so far is all things balance changes. We showed Styanax, but now I wanted to actually show some of the other bits and pieces that are coming with Veilbreaker. There's going to be lots of questions. I'm sure we will have full patch notes up when we release, and I know we're like running really over, so I'm just gonna.
It's only 3:25.
Why don't we do a platinum?
Okay.
Oh,
Hey, you haven't done one of those.
Break up the information.
Yep.
into platinum. I mean, not the
Yep.
I did warn them that they would hear me rant for a while.
Yeah. And actually, you've used up all your vocal creds for this
Honestly,
stream.
my vocal cords
You're
as
done.
well.
You're done.
To summarize,
Great job, though, Pablo.
Veilbreaker.
Thank you.
50% less animations.
Greg, who won? Can you read it?
Oh, T3KKII.
Wow. Tiki. Congratulations. Please whisper the Warframe Twitch channel you're watching right now with your in-game aliens platform. Play Warframe, get you 1,000 platinum Tiki.
Yes, you've.
Yeah, and breathe.
Only 9 years in the making of it. I've been saying that sentence every week.
Yeah.
Among pros.
So, indeed, we are. And for Veilbreaker, we have cosmetics coming, of course. We have the long-awaited more releases for Void Shell, which through lots of experimentation this year. We started with a batch of 3, and now we're actually going to release 4 more in this update. So, Dean, if you feel so inclined, you can come on over to my screen.
Are you going to do
Reading
release?
my colors
Of course,
there,
they're not going to
Carrie.
do fucking release order.
I don't naturally always channel Jeff, but I can understand where he comes from. at times. I mean, remember when Steve said that like as you age, your eyes don't have the ability to take in saturation the way that they used to? This is running contrary to that.
Interesting. I'm highly saturating your eyes then, but of course we will be adding some more Void Shell skins with the update. We're going to have Nova, Excalibur, Wukong, hilariously. So, you know, if you're not too upset by the changes, maybe
slap a skin on it.
There you go. And then Styanax as well. So that's 4 coming in this update. My Nova looks perfect. No feedback, no notes.
Well, actually, no.
Okay, you're done. You're cut off. And we are adding a new ephemera as well. So we'll have the Fog of War Ephemera. So this will be one, which again, it hides the saturation. So maybe you approve of this.
That's
Sure does,
fucking
yeah.
I saw someone
fire.
asking for helmet.
It doesn't
That's
remove the
pretty
layering, but
fucking
it
good.
does, yeah.
As far as like ephemeras go, that's
let me just see.
it's gonna be an instant buy, I think, because it said it was like 70 plat. I think I might have to get it.
Maybe I'll swap some colors just for the blessing of the
Christmas.
Yeah.
Anyway, and there will be new
These
materials
are
coming as well. Material
New
structures.
material.
So
Jesus, there's like
let's
they
get
added like
Shell,
700 of them to begin with.
Nova,
How are they adding more?
Void shells for Veilbreaker.
There's so many.
And then if you
There's so
have good
many.
taste, you'll know that.
You could add a different material to every piece,
Oh.
to every Warframe that has a void
Okay.
shell,
Okay.
and
Okay.
would,
You
you'd
might have
still
spoiled
have
it in the trailer we
access.
showed at TON of QoL, but Protea Deluxe, the Calidris.
Yeah, we've already seen this. I mean, it looks
That's
incredible.
The host's job. Don't
I'm
look
just
at
warning
me.
you about
Look at
how
that.
you
I mean, come
pronounce
None
on.
of my business.
I
I'm
pronounce it. The Deluxe
Wild.
Collection, Calidrius. This is coming with Veilbreaker. She also has, I believe, a throwing bombs, throwing bomb skin, and the Talkor skin as well.
Who worked on
I
this?
love this skin.
The skin is, and this is actually we contracted a player, Asterisk, who is just a player like any other, but also has a penchant to do amazing arts. Actually came up with the Protea Deluxe skin, and we worked with them. Like this concept came from the community, and then the just incredible. I don't know if I have that.
This grenade launcher skin reminds me of there is a. In history, they used to make, like, to launch a firework into the air in, like, ancient times, they would basically put it into, like a real big, fat, wide musket. But it wasn't, like, a proper musket. It was just, like, you sort of drop the firework in and then, like, lit the fuse and then sort of pointed it. Like, it wasn't, like, a proper musket. But that's what that skin is giving me vibes of. Which actually... Bane, you're not allowed to tell Laura this because this is in my Friday night D&D game. I'm gonna have my artificer design a sort of a firework gun for one of my players, just because I love the idea of having like a flare gun, and honestly, like between World War Z and Alan Wake, having that as an option has really been very exciting, and so that sort of playing World War Z has sort of rekindled my enjoyment of that.
Deluxe skins you can mix and match with the existing, helmet options.
That's fire. That's so fucking good. Look, come on.
Right. So that is Protea.
That is Protea. I think it's time for a little veil breaking. Nod to, I don't know, Veilbreaker.
Right. So with Veilbreaker, it takes us in a post-New War world where you will find yourself, if you finish the New War, you're going to have a quest. And this is when we're going to get into like some dev showcase stuff, so you never know what's going to happen, and it is the dev build, but there will be a quest available in your codex. Veilbreaker will be there for you, and once you complete it, your world state is going to change a little bit. So the New War has happened, the Tenno has resolved what they've resolved, and now it's time to push things forward with Veilbreaker. And after you finish the Veilbreaker quest, a couple things are going to change for you. First is you may have a new visitor, if you will.
More like a roommate.
A roommate, if you will, in your actual Drifters camp. So in this setting, Dean, I'm just going to have you pop away for a sec, and maybe Meg can fill the airtime for a second or two while I get this set up.
I love filling airtime. As part of Veilbreaker,
Call's Garrison is in The forest,
small
that's
quest,
dope.
to kinda
That's
get you
so
in over the
good.
Of the new war and Call's story, but you're gonna get a little.
That's
conversation
really
with
fucking
daughter.
cool.
She might have a part to play.
Perhaps,
in Veilbreaker.
yes,
Perhaps.
indeed. So if you come back to my gameplay here, Dean, if you've decorated your drifters area, you might need to move some stuff around. This is a friendly warning that
Get fucked.
There are some there might be some people moving and this is going to lead to the kickoff of the new systems we're adding. So the first system pertains specifically to this character you see here. You may know him as Call, and he's
Is
going
that
to have
Call?
he has a purpose and he has a goal after the new war and everything that happened. So you'll be experiencing a once a week narrative from his perspective of what he wants to do, and you'll be sort of cycling through that. Once a week there will be something for you to play. We're going to rotate.
Thank you for
through,
that
I think we're starting
follow,
with 3,
Benzo.
so 3 weeks you'll be going through, and every time you
Hi,
play one,
how are you doing
perhaps
today?
He's going to gain a following, or his mission is going to,
Sorry,
push
I'm
further.
so
this
focused on what's
area that
happening.
you see here will grow. You'll meet some people. You may wonder who Chipper is. This is a never before seen person that might have aligned goals. And Call is here. Call is waiting. And of course, like any fun system we have.
Of course.
Yeah, Call is here.
Come
to,
on, give us some goods.
You can do some
give us
things
some
to make
looks.
your Call look the way he would, and then you can go out and play your Call weekly mission, and then very important part of anyone that's undergone extreme trauma. In terms of bringing it back with style, is eye patches.
Oh.
So we have some concepts as well that we're going to show here that undertake what just the different level of customizations that Call will have. So I think we have an eye patch asset. Dean, perhaps? Did we lose Dean to the long dev stream?
Dean's just asleep.
But yeah, so of course, if you want to get your Metal Gear Solid kicks in, we have the perfect
That was a firm request from somebody.
That's
Interesting.
I mean, I'm gonna be on. I'm a basic
don't know.
bitch. I'm going with the number
Mystery
3.
request,
I'm going
yes.
with this
Mystery
one.
request for the
I like that one. I
coolest
like the
eye
middle
patches
one
you can have.
too.
But yeah, you can
The
really,
one on the
make
left
your
is kind
Call
of
your
goofy
own,
looking. I
and
don't
he
much
has,
care for that.
a
But
purpose, a mission, and that'll all be unveiled. Oh god.
Oh.
There it is. I was waiting for that moment.
Yes.
Goodness.
So we'll take a small clip of a dev build gameplay just to give people a look into what Call might be going through. So this is dev build whips, but Call has found himself somewhere that you might recognize. He managed to get a jetpack, and he must free his brother here. So this whole fiction and everywhere you're going to go with Call is going to involve what is he going to do against the sentience, and what can he as one Grineer alone do? Well, as he rescues his brothers, he'll find that he has the power to, command them and get them to do different things. Carrie, your art sensibilities are going to tingle because I'm actually showing something placeholder here, but there's secrets and little things that you're going to want to uncover to push that Call weekly mission forward, so you can earn things to shop in, maybe this new character back over here on the gameplay side. This character on my screen here, Dean, might have some things for you to grab week over week, depending on how far you advance. Every time you do a Call weekly, you'll push the Call garrison forward, and this is where Styanax will be for the free path once we're done with his campaign, and once we're done,
Makes sense.
Don't get it for free for those 2 weeks anymore. Styanax will be here. We'll have cosmetics for Call in here, and we're going to have a couple other things that we're going to talk about because, of course, once you've actually, you can see my ship there. It doesn't really fit, but I think
It does not fit, but it looks cute.
it's cute. Once Call has his veil breaking quest resolved, he found some intel, and he might know something that you don't from a different perspective. And it's for that reason that we're going to introduce Archon Hunts, which is the Warframe gameplay for Veilbreaker, the Warframe system, which essentially, once you've got the quest complete, which is a shorter quest for Veilbreaker, you're going to unlock something called Archon Hunts. And these are a weekly system for players that every week you're going to get the intel on a new Archon that has a new, tweaked look for the post-New War world. And there's going to be new lore and new stakes for you as a player to go through these. You'll hear from some characters. Maybe I have a voice recording session Monday. Who's to say how much is there? And then you're going to do a mission in this section of gameplay content that will always amount to a showdown with an Archon. And these are version of content that we really want you to think about what loadout you're going to bring and how you're going to play it in a co-op setting. So we have some restrictions just to change it up. These are weekly, so if you can't do it the first day, you have all week to try and, you know, refine your build, whatever troubles you're having. Maybe you get a squad to help you. But you'll get bonuses for certain gear, and then there's also restrictions where respawns, you can't self-revive. Really, co-op reviving is the only way to stay alive. So if you get down, you better hope you're sticking with your squad so that you can all stay together, advance together through the mission. And then consumables, similar to Steel Path, they have a cooldown. So same idea as Steel Path. These are weekly, and then they end with that fight against the given Archon of the week. You can absolutely do them solo. It doesn't have to be co-op, but as with all things in our game, totally possible solo, but
they are tough.
They
are meant to be tough missions. So, yeah, well, okay. So if you play the new war, you know, by the time you get to fight Archons with your Warframe, maybe it was a little anticlimactic.
There's a new flow, new mechanics for the final boss fight, the Archon Hunt itself. So you'll be going in, you'll have to discover how to get through where they are, shake them out. There's new mechanics there. It's not just the Drifter versus Archon New War stuff. It is different. It has a twist. We don't want to do spoilers, but it will be different.
I feel like...
But it is meant to be... It is meant to be more...
I have words about that.
It's not, you know, it's never better. Yeah.
We want to see what we can do with challenge. That's pretty much it. It's a really, that word will trigger a lot of different reactions, but we want to try different things, and that's what Veilbreaker is about. So these boss fights at the end, you'll have to take a look at them and see for yourself where they go, and every week a new one will appear for you. And you're going to get something new. You'll probably see on my screen something called the Azure Archon Shard, which is a new system we're adding for upgrades for players. So every week, if you do your Archon Hunt, you will earn the corresponding Archon Shard, which when you're done the quest, you'll have the necessary equipment to use it, which means that your helmet is getting more use. And Archon Shards as a system are an upgrade system for a given Warframe. So you can use your Azure Shard, or if you're lucky, you have a 20% chance to get a Tau Forged one. And your Archon Shards will be installed in a given Warframe. You have 5 shard slots, which you can put your shards in. So for me, I have my Protea here, who I love dearly. And Pablo, if you want to talk a bit more about this system, feel free.
Yeah, essentially it's a way to kind of focus on like the frames that you really want to buff even more, the ones you want to take to the very extreme. Basically, you can select from 3 different crystals, and they have the Tau Forged versions, which are a little stronger. So you can select them, and then from that, it'll give you a selection between different buffs that you can get from those gems. So in this case, you can increase the health of your Protea. You can shield. As you can see, the Tau Forge gives it a little extra bonus, some more energy. Essentially, you can.
Oh, you get to pick one of those.
Your preferred frames to get them, and
still very powerful.
The gems, if you the shards, if you decide to, they can be moved. So you're not like fully committed. You can take them out using basically helmet resources.
Yeah, and just to be clear, these are permanent stat upgrades that your given Warframe would have. So if I love my Protea and I did my weekly Archon Hunts, I can now permanently increase a specific stat depending on which shard I have. So as you fight Amar, you'll get the Crimson Shards from Amar, you'll get the Amber Shards from Nira, and you'll get the Azure Shards from Boreal. And these are permanent stats that you can apply to a given Warframe. So.
Yeah. And
show us the ruby one.
The red one is offensive stuff, or attack stuff. Then the yellow is utility, and then the blue is, well, what you're seeing here, which is more on the defensive side of things.
So you have a limit of 5 Archon shard slots per frame, and you can put them in. So you'll be earning these at the rate of 1 a week, and you'll be able to kind of decide which frame you really want to invest in. And do they stack? So if I had 5 blue shards, or Azure shards in this case, I could put 5 all for armor.
Yeah. So spoiling a little bit from the yellow, for example, the yellow you can get extra bonus from energy pickups. So if you put 5 of those, you can almost replace Energize with that. So you basically could kind of free up your arcane slot, and basically you can kind of pick and choose which frame you want to go with, the ones that are attack-based, which ones would you want to go utility, which ones you prefer defense.
Yeah, removing a shard doesn't destroy it. So say in the case of a frame that doesn't have a prime, if you've put all these shards in that frame and the prime comes out, you'll be able to get it back. There will be a little bit of friction. Right now it's using a Helminth resource, so that's still under review for what we're going to do there. But we know that people who have invested in frames might want to change their mind. So we are going to let you move those around.
Yep. And the only other note is, well, I don't know if I say this, but in Castor we were also talking about.
Yeah. So there will be shards available. It's not just through the weekly Archon Hunts, where you're going to be doing that final boss fight with an Archon to take their shard, but Call might have got 1 or 2 things up his sleeve. So you can kind of engage with both systems to get yourself those particular upgrades.
That's also good news.
So for Veilbreaker, we have Styanax, we have Call with his Veilbreaking weeklies, we have the Archon Hunts, which are predicated by playing through the Veilbreaker kickoff, and then you'll be kind of on your way to explore all the quality of life changes. We have tons of new skins, we have tons, like more QoL than I think we even covered on this stream, and we're already running, what else do we have there? Oh yeah. Yeah, so we talked about all of that. Augment buffs are coming as well.
Yeah, we're doing part 2. We're doing L to R, I believe, stopping at Rhino, looking at a few. We'll do obviously a part 3, but we wanted to look at a few.
You talked about armor changes in terms of stripping from enemies with abilities, so that's good. Artists, my friendly artists who came here.
You can talk about Last Gasp, because I see that we forgot to talk about that.
Yeah, so Last Gasp, I'll just go over it super quickly.
Carrie knows one.
Carrie, you want to talk about Last Gasp?
Maybe the art of Last Gasp. No, there's no art. Basically, it's going to, instead of the meter starting at 50%, it's going to start at 0%, but there's going to be no initial drain. Instead, the initial drain will start after a few seconds, and then actually killing Eximus units is going to refill that meter completely, and killing enemies is going to fill a meter by a third each time.
Yeah, it feels fast, like it fills out the meter faster, and you don't have that initial, like, before it started half and immediately started to drain, so you almost felt like you were, like, you felt like you were falling behind immediately. This gives you a little bit of time to like come up, start killing, and then come back. I feel it is easier to come back with it, and also we did a lot of changes to the presentation. It looks much nicer. It has less pops and stuff in there.
Yeah.
That's janky,
I think we got everything.
Is there anything you guys want to say about art? Because I have sort of like a wrap-up state of ongoing things, because as I'm sure Chad has noticed, we are a different group up here now, and obviously at Tennocon we announced some team changes. So all of us have been working on Warframe for at least 10 years, or 9 to 10 years, I think.
Probably.
So we all...
I think we're all relatively day one folks.
Carrie, your Zephyr skin has never seen the light of day. What do you...
Really hasn't.
Yeah. What's going to happen there?
Let's dust it off. Let's bring it back.
No? We have a lot of awesome people on the team, so that should be able to see the light of day someday.
And if you... I don't even know what you would Google to see that, but it was Devstream 7... No, I don't even know what Devstream we showed it on, but you...
It was got an art panel, and Jeff has incessantly brought that up over years, as I recall.
Yeah. And now I'm doing that.
It's great. Really good. Really good.
No regrets.
No regrets.
Yeah, a lot of new faces, but same old faces as well. So
we are quite old.
Our team has, at least the character team has grown in the past few months, definitely. So only better, greater things, and we're working on improving a lot of our art techniques and materials and all that stuff. So even on the aesthetics end, I think a lot of good things to look forward to.
Absolutely.
So
a lot of the new folks like jumped in going into Tennocon, and were able to help get us over those last hurdles. So things seem to be coming together really well.
I think so. Yeah. Got to stay positive, correct?
And I mean, we have like years of stuff to catch players up on, and for a long time we've been talking about crossplay, trials, and these things. And I just kind of wanted to get, now that we have a new team structure and we're working with a really experienced Warframe team, I just kind of wanted to give the latest news on everything that you might have been waiting for word on year over year, just from my current point of view. So Pablo's looking at me.
Come on,
like,
Rebecca, creative director.
Come on. It's my turn to surprise you, I think. Pablo himself, no, I'm just joking. No, but I wanted to talk about crossplay, cross-save, raids, trials, just general talking points for things that if you've been with the Warframe community for a long time, usually Steve would say something about these things, and now I'm going to.
Now it's you.
I'm going to give you where things are and what we're going to do. First of all, I'm going to talk about raids and trials. This is something that I played back in the day, Megan and I, the team, and I think earlier in the year we talked about wanting to bring them back, but we're not going to talk about this or have anything to share until our Veilbreaker objectives are complete and our Duviri Paradox content is complete. So don't expect to hear about those for a little bit. We still care about them deeply and we think that they are an interesting thing to try and explore, but there's nothing to share about it until we bring you news, basically. So I'd rather be honest about that, and we have a lot of stuff to do, so I don't want it to be a
fair.
A
Pretty much
continuous
says
thing that you
shut the
might
fuck up until
expect to hear about in the next
2023,
session.
which is fine.
Yeah, we discussed them a little bit. We took a look at some of the existing stuff and just kind of to get some bearings about like, okay, where is this? What could we actually do? And essentially, the answer is we cannot look at this until next year because this year we just have too much already.
Correct.
So that's.
But there maybe is something we could talk about this year, and that's crossplay. So that is an engineering feat that we have wanted to, all these systems we're adding. It'd be nice if you had a bigger pool of players to play with across all platforms.
100%.
And we are, like we said at Tennocon, in the testing phase of kicking off something for crossplay, which we will announce the full community details of pretty soon so that you know what to expect, because this is very much a test the tech and we got to test it live. So we'll have extremely organized tests for crossplay. Like we mentioned at Tennocon, like I said again, we are getting close. And once crossplay is in a spot where we feel like we can turn it on, cross-save work will follow. So that's the order of operations there. It is one of the actually I would say it's the biggest priority for the bulk of the team in terms of tech for Warframe right now. So where Steve would usually tell you something about deferred all of the updates with their engine and deferred rendering, and what does that mean if you can't run deferred? That'll come in future dev streams, but from a tech point of view, it's really the biggest priority. And we're really hoping to
we want to get it right, so.
Yeah, we don't want you to lose your accounts in the metaverse.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
could you imagine?
We don't want Mark Zuckerberg to steal your account, all right? We have to be really careful. Would it really be like a creative director thing if I don't say something that could get us in trouble?
Yeah, it would be a
Keep
type
going.
That's
of
true.
thing.
She has a
There's no end
big
to
shoes
trouble
to
I could
fill.
get us into, so I can
Big pink shorts to fill, I guess.
You have to deal with it all.
Yeah, I'm making notes.
You've got the keys to the car now.
How many PSAs am I writing?
The game's in good hands, everyone.
Yeah,
Just stay calm.
Mark Zuckerberg is not going to steal your account. And then I think just the other general thing, Prime Resurgence, we will have more news about that system as well.
Good.
That was something we launched last year as a Prime Vault test replacement, and the team has put a lot of effort into what it could look like, and there will be full announcements on that. I just wanted to acknowledge it because I see a lot of questions about it.
Great.
And then I think the last thing is just sort of an overview talking point on the test cluster. When COVID started, we were all at home. We were like, how are we going to work with this? And we kicked off the semi-public test cluster, which was great. And it worked well. It was a lot more work than we expected. It was still good. It got good results. And then we started simul shipping. And if you're tracking on a calendar when the public test stuff started to wind down and when we started doing coordinated releases across all platforms, there's a very clear correlation between when one ended and one began. And for that reason, I'm still looking into a way to try and use it, but that doesn't override the very meticulous planning we have to do with our builds to have a simultaneous release for all players. I don't want this to sound like an excuse. It's not. It's literally a logistics problem, and a lot of players are probably going to wonder, like, why aren't you using the public test cluster for these AoE changes and stuff? And it's a logistic issue. To have any updates this year, we have to decide how we can bring this back in with our new methodology for actually releasing and deploying builds across all platforms. So looking into it, trying to plan. If things were perfect, we could do it every time, but the reality is it's very, now that I'm sitting on this side of the chair, it's very hard. But because this is something that we kicked off as a team during COVID and we liked it, it's still something that we want to do, but we also know that there are a million reasons now why we can't.
Yeah, the needs of simultaneous ship across all the different consoles, all the different platforms, and the needs of the test cluster go like kind of directly against each other. And what lives on top of simultaneous ship is crossplay and cross-save, right?
Yes.
If you don't have simultaneous ship, these two things
Crossplay and
just fall
cross-save
apart.
do not work.
So we need to keep doing that. So that gets us into this problem. We really, for this one, as you saw from the gigantic list of AoE changes, since it wasn't like just one change, it was a whole bunch of things. We would have loved to be able to do a test cluster, but that would have just meant that then simultaneous ship.
Yeah, there's
It
sort
was
of like,
problematic.
we accrue all of these things when we try new things all the time, and it's like, well, what about this? What about that? And then you start to realize, like, well, in order to get anything done, we need to make some choices. And as your new creative director, I'm going to try and make the best choices for the community and the game. Sometimes you might not agree with me. I hope for the most time you can at least understand my reasoning, and I'll be happy. But in this case, for cross-play and cross-save stuff to happen, that simultaneous ship had to happen, and those are the types of decisions that push the entire community forward. And all things considered, we do hotfix a lot, and after these changes that we outlined in the stream are in your hands, we will continue to do just that. We're going to be evaluating closely. We have a lot of stats and data and, of course, player feedback that's going to come into the equation. So that's where we're going to be with Veilbreaker. And it is a huge update. It has everything we've shown today. And those Archon fights will be waiting for you with your, maybe your best gear, your worst gear, whatever you want to throw at it, you can figure it out. You have a week to do it every week before it clicks over to the next hunt. So, yeah. That's kind of the Veilbreaker Devstream. The longest Devstream
Oh
we've
my
ever
lord,
done.
almost 2
Have
hours.
we hit a
hours.
record yet?
Yeah.
I'm sinking into my own
Actually
sweat
think so.
here.
Sounds like it's
That
dinner.
sweater
What's
was a
going
bad
on?
choice, Megan.
Those are
I'm
very
Brie,
bright
I'm-
lights.
Yeah.
I
Breathing
actually
over
thought
it.
about that. I thought about the professional setup and the lights, and I thought I should not wear a hoodie. I should definitely just wear a shirt because, yeah, I'll get sweaty out here.
Is that everything?
That is everything.
It's
That's
not
not
everything?
There's a certain skin we haven't shown.
Oh, the Xatu skin? Please.
Oh, the Styanax Void Shell?
No.
There's a skin we haven't shown?
There's a key art and a concept.
We showed the key art.
No.
For Protea?
Yeah.
Oh, show the key art.
All of us are like, what the hell is
I know, it's
going
so
on?
Wow, I
Is
thought
Dean
that
about
was
to
that a bit?
Yay!
Whatever. It looks great, obviously.
Idris. And then, yeah, the concept art is like Rev was talking about way back in the day. We commissioned Asterix to do this.
Yeah, it looks
incredible
super good.
Protea Deluxe.
I
concept
really
art,
love
and
it.
From that, the team was able to.
This was literally, like, we saw this literally last July at Tennocon, I think, for the first time.
Which actually, this is the perfect ending because the art team gets to talk.
Oh boy.
Zaku Deluxe, eh?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's in progress. That is in progress.
Yeah, things are happening.
But
Stuff's
yeah,
moving.
actually, honestly, we have, being able to add so many more fresh new faces into our team, we're able to look at the long-term schedule and really, I think we feel confident hitting those marks of we'll have all these deluxes coming in, and the void shells are really taking a life of their own, and so it's really refreshing to have, a team to be able to support that. So. Yeah, and of course Warframe under new management.
Let's burn it all down, kids.
No, I think it's really,
very
really
sad.
exciting. I think.
Can we
Yeah.
say when we're planning to release Zaku Deluxe? Do you know?
I think I know. Am I allowed to say?
Why not?
I think the
Why
last
not?
time, the last conversations we had in our internal trackers were maybe October.
No, that's for internal, I think.
Is that for internal?
Yeah, I think that's yeah.
So that would be probably
Say whatever you want. It's
yeah.
a dev stream. There's no rules.
Ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah.
Go.
It's not coming out in October.
Yeah. I don't think it's coming in October, but it's they're well on their way. I think now, so they're in really good hands, and can we say before the end of the year? Probably
Yeah,
not, right?
hell yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
Probably. I mean, it's
Anything can happen.
There's another significant update that would be coming out this year.
Yes.
That this might go with.
I was gonna say a Veilbreaker. Looks
I
like
was
it's
gonna say.
it's kind of incredible that this is able to get shipped right on the heels of Tennocon. But that's always the case, isn't it? Where it's always up
Anything
against
can
time
happen.
and magic happens.
Exactly.
Yeah, the magic.
We're like, oh boy, we got lots
Yeah.
of work to do, but the team is obviously the one bringing everything to the table that we showed you today. So we're just here to show off their work.
I
and
really wanted to play
get it in your
Warframe
hands,
after
Tenno,
this,
and
but
we
I
can do
literally don't
any
have
praise of
time
anything that is
to do
relevant.
that.
You can
Speaking
be
of
confident
relevant-
there will be extensive quality of life improvement.
Yes.
That's
A
right.
lot. Before we go, let's do a core Prime Access.
Oh!
And one more planet.
Yeah,
Oh
Let's
my
do
god,
both
I'm
of
taking
those.
this.
I'll do a really quick just recap.
I
Let me know if you need my-
I don't need to
Talk
hear the
about- yeah,
recap.
it's
We
pretty
can
good.
just talk. I don't know. I thought this was a really cool dev stream. All things considered, I think a lot of the balance changes are good. I am shocked about the armor stripping change. I thought for sure, based on everything else Pablo has literally ever done, that Pablo would for sure have nerfed armor stripping and changed it, but he buffed it. So I I have to give Pablo a little bit of more credit. I credit where credit is due. He's so far nailing it as the new lead game designer. So AoE changes seem good on the outside. Obviously, I'm gonna hold full judgment until I get them in my hands. Protea Deluxe looks great. Veilbreaker looks exciting. I think doing a quest line with Call, and sort of based on what they said, like it feels like there's going to be some lore tidbit from Veilbreaker that is from a different perspective than what we got. So that could be very interesting. We'll see, I guess.
Yeah.
That'd be fantastic.
We have lots
Don't
of
go
time.
that far back, because then we gotta do Tennocon.
Oh, right. That's fine.
That's fine.
Tennocon was totally easy. It was actually really fun because the internet for the entire province, or country rather, didn't
Oh,
go
yes,
out.
it was
Yeah.
problem-free, no
Yeah.
glitches.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't as if the gods were against us or
Yeah,
anything.
I had to run across the city
Yes,
into.
you went to listen.
Yeah, I went to colleagues
yes.
or our senior producers or
Yeah.
Knocking on
backyard,
doors,
and
use that
yeah,
internet.
can I borrow your Wi-Fi? Yeah, that was a fun time.
All
But we
right.
did it.
Thank you to everyone for watching. I almost like want to hit the 2-hour mark.
I know.
but
What's the point of ending now?
we got 3 minutes left.
Is it only 3 minutes left?
3 minutes left till 4
Carrie,
o'clock.
tell us your favorite environment. Because like, your history with the
There's
game,
no fucking way they're doing this, right?
you've worked on a lot of art. What's your favorite art?
My favorite art?
Wow.
Good lord. Memorable and most
Incredible.
favorite art.
I'm just gonna mute this. I legitimately I think there's other stuff that we could be talking about. Styanax looks incredible. I love that like they said, they really did bring Styanax back to being like just a regular Warframe. He looks the most normal. He has a very distinct, like, you know, post private beta Warframe look. Like, I feel like the last 10 or 15 Warframes have been kind of ridiculous design wise, and you can definitely like track if you go like through the Warframes chronologically, like based on release date, like where like the devs really start to like open up the throttle on the like bonkers design choices. And I feel like Styanax has cool features, but it's very much in the heart of like simple Warframe design, and I really appreciate that. I think it's a baller move to give Styanax away for free for the first 2 weeks. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's definitely a great choice. Yeah, overall, I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased with this dev stream. I think as far as like the first new like head of Warframe sort of head of Warframe team dev streams, I think it went really well. I think they all kicked ass, and I'm excited about the future of the game. I know I've taken a few weeks/months off after echoes of the Zeramun stuff was just really disappointing. I think the Zeramun has been, no offense, maybe the worst piece of content Warframe has ever released. Just in terms of like how overhyped it was. I think the only piece of content that comes close to that is the Sacrifice, and yeah, the Angels of the Zeramun was just really disappointing, and it was really not what it was hyped up to be, in my opinion. I think that and it's partially my fault, obviously. Like, the people who are allowing themselves to be hyped up are just as much at fault. But like, I let myself fall into that trap after how good the new war was. I was like, well, they've got to be able to follow this up with a banger, right? Yikes. So I'm really hoping that Veilbreaker blows my pants off.
For another dev stream in September, which is when Veilbreaker is coming. Bye, everybody.
Thanks so much.
May. Oh, are they just gonna do the trailer
He
again?
saved us. Me and my brother. Orphans of war.
I don't know who this